welcome to, well, the first ever tutorial on Wasteland Games for new players for Fallout 76 on the Forest region. I'm going to show you 5 places to set up your camps, which will be beneficial for you in the long run. Try and cover what the benefits are, and I'm going to start over here. We are currently, let me pull up my map for you. Sorry about that. Alright, this is where my camp normally sits at. It's one of the areas I'm showing you. We are currently over here by Black Mountain Ordnance. We are just south of Deathclaw Island and just north of Point Pleasant. We are west of Vault 76. Now, the reason why I like to build camps in this location in particular is right down here. And it's this junk node. Whenever you first start playing Fallout 76, you'll notice real quick that you require a lot of materials to build a lot of different things, everything from armor to ammunition. Um, when you start out of the vault, you'll go from Vault 76 and you'll go down to the Wayward, which is right down here. And there are a bunch of truly lovely camp spots right down here along this area, including one right over here with a concrete node. But as a new player, the nodes themselves won't be very useful to you until you take over a workshop, which is like this one right here at Gorge Junkyard. I recommend everybody take a workshop over as soon as possible to unlock extra building materials, such as the extractors you use at these nodes, the defensive walls, the gantry stairs, other defensive items that come into play whenever you take over the junkyards, because basically those workshops all have multiple nodes in them, and what you'll do is you'll be extracting materials from them to well, so that your characters, have stuff to work with when they build a house. And speaking of houses, I'll show you this one real quick so you understand what I'm talking about. Here we go. Now you'll notice this area has a little bit of a radiation issue because of the radiation barrels that are right there. You also have the water there, which is also radioactive. I recommend building here if you're going to farm water. It's a decent place to do it. It also is a decent place anywhere along the river, to be honest. This area has this particular node, which is a junk node, which means whenever you take things out of it, this extractor that I have built into my floor will provide you a lot of materials that are easily broken down at a workbench and stored in your scrap box for later to build things like this base. Now, the benefit to using a junk node versus any other node is the junk node does not require acid to process any of the items that you are dealing with that you get from the extractor. Now, the other benefit to this area is that as you go down the river, there are multiple junk nodes starting from right here at Hill Folk Hot Dogs, moving up this river. You'll find them at various locations. You'll also, as I said before, be able to farm water and things like that without an issue. You're also near farms, which provide you with other resources. At low level play, all these resources are beneficial because you can use food to supplement lack of stem packs. You can use the resources, as I said, to build your camps. Now then, this is the first spot. Okay, another thing you need to know is the forest basically covers from Arnholt Homestead all the way down this railroad track right here as a border, all the way down to here, which is Camden Park. It also covers this area over here as well. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this is I'm only going to show you spots to build at that I particularly would use. The next one I'm going to take you to is this one right here. It's custom destination. It's just south, well, technically east and south of North Kanawha Lookout. We'll go there and I'll show you why. Okay, double checking the map to make sure we arrived in the right location. Okay, we want to go down this way. Now, when you get here, you'll still have your orientation on. Now, there'll always be something spawning here. Right now, there's this scaver that's looking for stuff, but it could be anything from robots to wild dogs to whatever. The area you want to build in is right here, and I'll show you why real quick. This is a steel node, and this is a copper node. Now, if you're playing, and you'll be playing in the forest region probably till you hit level 25, if you're smart, and stick in this area. Stock up on things like materials like that you need to make ammo and weapons and armor and get everything working the way you want it to. Now, this spot has a really nice view. It also has things that'll spawn down there at that little green tent you can see off in the distance, and things that'll spawn up here that'll come down and attack your camp. When you place your camp here, you want to place it dead center between these two nodes if you can. You want to make sure that one of them is at least, you know, fully covered, and the other one can be partially covered, meaning the green line can come right around here. But you want to make sure you get both of them in one push, because the whole point of building here is to acquire as much material as possible. Now, the only problem with this is, if I recall correctly, I think copper requires you to have acid to process it. I do not remember if the iron ore / steel ore does, but I know the copper does. We are at this location, you are just north of the Landview Lighthouse, just east and south of the North Kanawha Lookout, and west of the Gorge Junkyard. Now, I would recommend taking this at, again, like level anywhere between level 10 to level 25. Just make sure that you have the acid resources to process the materials you're going to get. Otherwise, you're kind of wasting your time here. You're much better at a junk node where you can find more materials. Now, the next spot that I'm going to take you to is the one that I was talking about earlier, which is like, you know, right in this area here, which somebody's actually built there. So let's go see what they've got. Okay, now, this house is built exactly, roughly where I would have you build one if you were a new player, starting in this area. The one exception is I would have you build so that you have this node in your area of control, meaning your house border, so that you can put an extractor here, because this provides you with concrete. Concrete doesn't require acid to process, and it's used in a lot of different building, like the foundations here, for instance, and in some modifications to a few other things running around that you have to do. I want to say it's even you use concrete to process wheat to make flour. So, yeah. But this whole area down here is good for a low-level player that's just starting out, that's just started off building their camp, because you have access to water, you have access to food down at the Wayward, which is the corn growing outside of it. It can be processed, and you can use that to help offset your lack of stim packs. Now, the other benefit to building in this area is the Wayward is right there. You'll be able to complete the first quest fairly easy for them, which I think is build a camp and build a sign. Because she's going to give you the schematic for the sign that you need. And most of the quests that are required by her that are local are going to take place up around this area, or go as far over as Summersville Place. The further north you're going to go is over here towards the West Virginia Lumber Company. Now, the reason why I recommend for low-level players to build here is because it also is a relatively central area for dealing with responders items, which come up down here in Flatwoods and over here in Morgantown. You're going to have at least one camp slot to start off with. I think you can get two relatively easy. The other place you're going to go to probably is going to be up here to Vault 51 to get your free vault. In order to get that quest active, you're going to need to go to one of the train stations. Doesn't matter which one, Grafton, Morgantown, all of them should have a poster in it that will set off that quest series for you. Right now, the Mothman Equinox is going on, which if you're a low-level player starting, this is actually a pretty decent little event. I'll go over to it so I can show it to you. For new players, it's seasonal, meaning that it's not constantly on. It rotates in with some other events, like they have a Christmas event and a Halloween event and a spring event besides this one, which is called Fosnock. Here we go. During this event, you have 3 pyres, 2 over here at
the Bridges Pyre is the heretic's next target, children. You must keep it safe.
2 over here.
The heretics bring foul brutes with them. Let not your eyes deceive you. All you see before you.
And 1 at the church.
No matter its shape, man or beast,
this is the bridge pyre that we mentioned.
Shadows all serve
and
the
then
will
this over
of the
here is the
ones.
waterfront pyre. I am not using any kind of heads-up display right now because I'm recording this video. Normally I would have like my crosshairs and everything else, so I'm actually going to wind up using this like a traditional shooter without crosshairs. Just to show you this event and the series of things that go on. Other players are hopping around. This player has a mutation called Marsupial. Hello. That allows them to do so. So do these. Well, that one has a jetpack. Yeah, we have jetpacks in here for
These
people in armor
unwavering
now.
fools attack from all sides. Leave no pyre unguarded. Leave no heretic left standing.
Alright. As you can see, you get a variety of attackers. You get the Heretic Mothman Priests, Vengeful Mothman. You also get Albino Deer and some other things as this goes on. Down here you get death claws and whatnot. The idea is to keep the pyres lit Not let them put them out. Not let them damage them enough that they go out.
Do you feel it? The wise one draws near.
And protect these things.
He awaits our signal.
The other area that...
Quickly, children, return to me upon the museum's rooftop. We must invite him to us to show him
That you'll
our
wind up
love
going
and our
to defend.
gratitude. Dance, sing, shout, expel.
Wise Mothman.
is right over here. This is the third pyre, which is over at the church, as you can see.
We are but meager insects
The
before
Mothman
your
comes
intellect.
and he shows
Come,
up over
children.
at the top of the
Allow
Mothman
the
Museum.
wise one to gaze upon you. Bask. Bask in his infinite
over
wisdom.
here. And because you come up and you talk to him for a second, you get his little bonus to your XP. You also get a few items, but nothing really, like, for my character's level, it's not that big a deal. For a new player, it would be a chance at some really good stuff. Like, you know, I don't really need costumes, per se, and I don't really need the armor that's coming up. That being said, I do keep that kind of stuff for other people to sell them to my vendors. Alright, moving right along. So this is the Mothman Equinox event. It's not bad. When you kill the albino deer, what you'll do is you go ahead and put their blood in here at the beginning of the event to set that off. It's a nice little thing. It's not a bad event in general. It helps build the community in the game. So I'm going to go ahead over here and show you another nice little spot to set up a camp. This one is one that I personally like, and it's the third one on my list of 5, because it has a... If you build here and you do it just right, you can get your camp to go down and cover up this area right here, and you have this pre-built tent and cooking station in it. You can either build down here by the water line and use water extractors, or you can build up here at the top and use a wood extractor. Benefit to the wood extractor, it doesn't require acid to process, and you will go through a lot of wood in this game. This is a tent. It is used, it is a Fallout First item. It is one of several different varieties, and they have some that have workbenches in them, like the Tinker's bench up there, where you can make your ammo and break down stuff. And they have some that just have beds and musical instruments in them, so that you can get your buffs. I prefer this one most of the time. I don't usually use the buffs that often anymore. Now then, let's see, that's 3. So fourth location to check out. Ah, here's the other tent down here. Coco popped this down. This is one of the newer versions of the tents. It has the stash box, and it also has an ammo storage. It has a bed and a cooking station. It's not a bad design. The only thing is it either needs a musical instrument or it needs some other station to really complete it. That's the only complaint I've heard about it. But it does look more like a tent than my tank, so to speak. But okay, let's see now. I'm gonna head over to a train station real quick. if I can. Did the game just lock up again?